how does your plan change if you and your spouse decide to retire at different ages, and those ages are before Medicare, possibly even before Social Security? We've got that story and more coming up. Welcome to another episode of the Wise Money Stories, our monthly deep dive into a real-life financial planning situation with the financial advisor that was helping guide them and with the strategies, all to help draw out financial principles and strategies that you can apply in your financial life. My name is Mike Bernard. I am your host, and with me again in the KFG studios, financial planner Ben deBock. Ben has been a financial advisor at KFG for, a decade and more. Ben serves 100 or so clients, give or take, and he's really a jack of all trades, like all of our financial planners, helping with all 6 areas of their financial life. Ben, welcome back into the studio.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
All righty. Okay, so we're going to get into a recent financial situation, and there's some good takeaways from it. But hot take, let me just ask you on the outset. If someone is in the 22% tax bracket, so 10, 12, 22, and then 24, blah, blah, blah. Someone's in 22% tax bracket. What do you recommend, pre-tax or Roth?
Ooh, man.
And you know where I stand on this, Ben.
Right.
Don't hurt my feelings.
Yeah, this is the evergreen question and a really fun one. Again, of course, our answer is going to be it depends, because it really depends on your financial situation. But my take is, depending on kind of what your income looks like now, what we're forecasting it for the future, I tend to tip any jump balls to Roth.
Yeah.
But if it looks like this is kind of out of the ordinary and we're going to be in that lower tax bracket, it's just a fluke, then maybe we go with pre-tax.
All right. Not that I'm any authority on this, but Ben, I would absolutely, that's the right answer. It's got to be, it's not one size fits all. That's saying that I use way too much. But yeah, if someone's in the 22% tax bracket right now and you're projecting out into retirement and they're going to be in the 12% tax bracket all day, every day, you wouldn't do Roth.
That's exactly right.
And yeah, if it's close and there's potentially a jump ball, love the Roth. So I know that sort of applies, that decision. Certainly everyone's got to make that decision, but it applies in your story. So Ben, obviously everything's confidential here, and yet at the same time, Dave Ramsey has the benefit of people calling and airing their entire financial life, all the details, and so he's equipped to say, oh, this is what you should do. We can't really do that. Everything's confidential. But share a recent client scenario, story, making it confidential, and talk about some of the strategies and principles that you applied in their financial life that we can all learn from and maybe apply in our own.
Sure. Yeah, I've got some folks, some of my favorite clients to serve, actually, and I say that about a lot of them, but I get the privilege of working with these folks. They've got 3 kids, college age, that are kind of either just starting college or are on the tail end there. They're in their early 50s. They're looking to retire early. So they would like to be done late 50s, early 60s. That's kind of the target range. And one of the spouses is willing to work a little bit longer than the other, but that's their goal. They've been great savers for a long time. So great habits before they came to us. But then as things got more complicated, as income went up, as life financially got a little more complicated, they decided they'd like to reach out and get some more help, and we're fans of the show and all that kind of stuff. So they are looking to say, hey, what would it take for us to be confident that we can retire at 60? And what kind of moves do we want to make now in the way that we save, especially as the kids are starting to get towards wrapping up college here?
How had they saved prior to coming in to see us?
Good question. So primarily they'd been using their retirement accounts through work. So their 401k, okay? So for both of them, the gentleman had been pouring into basically maxing out his 401k for many years, which is fantastic, right? Yeah. Like the ability to do that and the willingness to do that is super helpful. And so that's put them in a great spot. But he's been doing all pre-tax or almost all pre-tax until we met and we started talking about tax diversification. Basically just meaning, how can we start to prepare for especially those early years of retirement with some different types of accounts so that you have financial flexibility to say, I have some control as to what my tax return looks like, rather than it being defined for me based on where I pull the money from.
We're all familiar with diversification. Don't have all your eggs in one basket. We know that as an investment principle, so that hopefully things don't all move in the same direction at the same time. And yet from a tax standpoint, tax diversification is really about choice. And that is what you want in your finances. So much of financial planning, successful financial planning, is about balance in life, but also about flexibility and choice. Anytime that you're making a decision where you're locked into, well, this is the only route I can go, I don't know about you, that's not a very comfortable position. And so from a tax standpoint, yeah, being intentional about building that tax choice, that tax diversification. Sometimes there's trade-offs to it, but that's been one of the key, I would say, similarities for folks that we've seen retire successfully and confidently.
Yeah. So what we're helping these folks with is we've started running these retirement projections using the 5 different factors, but we've been looking at where does it look like we're going to be tax-wise over those years with the type of accounts and the balances that we have and forecasting some growth, stuff like that. And in light of that, if we want to be really careful about those years from early or late 50s, early 60s through age 65, especially because healthcare costs are just this almost like a blind tax. Like you don't really see that coming. But if your income is too high, then all of a sudden your healthcare costs could be significantly higher than you were expecting, right?
Okay, go deeper there. What are their health insurance options when they retire before 65?
Yeah, great question. So, we could just not be insured, which is highly not recommended. Like that's a bad idea. But one of the main ones is you could do a marketplace. And this is you go and you shop for your own plan. But these plans, the way it works right now is you can get credits for the cost of these plans, all depending on what your income level is. There's also plans, we call them like Christian share plans, and those have some a lot of options as well, but they're a little bit more on the outskirts or the fringe there of those decisions.
Most people do, yeah. Marketplace, healthcare.gov. I was around for the drama of whether we should have even done this or not, and that opinion doesn't matter anymore. We're all past it, but it does offer a medium, a source for people to get health insurance when they're not yet eligible for Medicare and don't have a group option. And you could do COBRA, but you're paying the full freight of COBRA. And if you go to healthcare.gov, if your income's low enough, you don't have to pay the full freight.
Right.
Gosh, okay. Cynical Mike is coming out. I was going to say that the government pays part of it, but the government doesn't have any money. We're all sharing in it. Right. So you're welcome. But yeah, if you can get some tax credits, whether you believe in the undercurrent of that or not, if you can get some tax credits to lower the amount that you pay for health insurance at a critical time when cash flow is super, super important, retiring early, oh my goodness, you want to maximize those strategies.
Absolutely. So one of the things we're looking at is, as we've had these great saving habits, do we actually change where those habits, where those dollars land? What type of accounts? So obviously we've started building up over the last number of years that I've worked with these folks, and we've built up Roth strategies, Roth accounts. And now we're looking at what we call a non-qualified account. All that means, there's no quiz on this, all that means is when we put the dollars in, they're not tax sheltered right now. So as they grow, as they potentially create dividends, or if you sell them, you get capital gains. These are a type of taxation that we have to be careful of with this type of account, but it's much more of a Swiss Army knife of I can go grab it at any time. There's no limits on how much I put in. There's no rules on how much I can take out. It's much more open to that flow, which makes it really powerful for these early years potentially of their retirement, which is what we're looking at.
Okay, so why wouldn't, so you said you've been intentionally building up the Roth as well. So now there's some tax diversification, pre-tax and Roth. And then you've added this third component of a non-tax sheltered account. Why not touch the Roth between age 60 and 65?
Yeah, great question. So we may need to a small degree, but really we love the power of the Roth for its abilities over time. Mm-hmm. The Roth is most powerful if you just let it go brew. Okay, so you want to just let that thing percolate for as long as possible because it's such a sweet tax shelter because it's growing tax free. So as it increases, hopefully in value over time, it's going to be even better. And then you get to take it out tax free. And these folks with a number of kids, if they inherited it, you got to remember that's tax free for them as well. Yeah. So this is a generational tax benefit that you probably want to at least try to not raid that cookie jar too early if you can help it.
Okay, so using the five-factor retirement plan to build out different scenarios to ensure that they had a competent plan, that they were on track. Then sort of in the sandbox, testing out, well, we use the term multi-year tax projection. What does their tax picture look like 5 years out, 6 years out, at RMD age, that sort of thing. And that all informed the decision to build tax diversification, but not just sort of the normal dichotomy of pre-tax and Roth, but also this non-qualified.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is especially important, I think, for folks who are looking for that early retirement side of things.
Yeah.
And really, I was telling them when I met with them not too long ago that from age 60 or 59, whenever you retire, all the way through age 75, we have massive decisions to make every single year that affect your tax planning. Yeah. Like we need to figure out when to take Social Security. We've talked ad nauseum about that. We need to figure out where's your income coming from? How do we control your tax picture? What does this year's tax return look like? And therefore, what will future years look like? It's really fun. And then when do we start pulling from some of these retirement accounts? What's the right time and the right amount? So we nerd out. We love this stuff, but that's it's a fun situation that we've got going on there.
Yeah. Okay. So I can't help but point this out. This reminds me, Ben, of the first time I met you. And so Ben was a teacher and was a friend of the firm. Parents were a friend of the firm, and he was exploring getting into financial services in a completely different area. And so it really wasn't even on the table, I don't think, for you to join KFG. And we just started. You joined, and we were doing a case analysis, and I think you were just hooked. And you were made for this, man, because I can see it. Because here's the thing. Hopefully, you're seeing this as well. The Wise Money Show, this platform, and what we do at KFG, it's all about helping align the 6 areas of your financial life. And in Ben's story, what he shared, certainly talking about cash flow, present financial position, and even the structure of your assets, present financial position, protection planning. They got to get health insurance before age 65, and I know you're going to help them make a fantastic decision with Medicare when that time comes as well. So protection planning, tax planning. How can we structure gains today, benefits today from your tax standpoint, but also be aware of what your taxes are going to look like in the future, and therefore pre-tax, Roth, non-qualified investment strategy, five-factor retirement plan so they have confidence they can retire early, and then even estate plan, being aware of, well, how would this benefit or hurt you if you passed away and left dollars behind? You've got to look at all 6 areas, and you got to tie them together, Ben.
Yep.
So yeah, love it. And that's the approach that you need to take as well. When you're faced with big financial decisions, those things like retirement or how much to save or whether pre-tax or Roth, you've got to look at all 6 areas of your financial life to make a wise choice. Work with your certified financial planner on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on our team. You can find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with a K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well. Or send us an email at info@korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.